Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am the stepson of Krypton.
I'm Mantis.
And today we are discussing, we've kind of put out a couple of videos already about the impending sale of WB. Now it seems like it is final. And the winner, if you want to call it that, spending 72 billion, Netflix. So, Mantis, are you excited to get on into this? What we're hoping to be a little bit shorter of a video.
Yeah, I am ready.
All right, guys, don't want to waste a whole lot of time because we do have a bit of information to cover. And again, we're going to try to keep this as short as possible for you. So let's just go ahead and get on into it. All right, guys. So in our kind of continuing series, we put out several videos. Well, I say several too, about this
Mm.
impending sale. Netflix announced today, it is even on their own page, that they have a definitive agreement with Warner Brothers Discovery, which will actually be just Warner Brothers because they're actually going to separate from Discovery. Discovery is going to
Mhm.
become its own company here in quarter 3 of 2026, but they will acquire them in a total equity deal of 82.7 billion roughly, but the equity value in itself will be about 72 billion. So I know that's a lot of random numbers here. I'm going to give you a few more before we move on. So basically, what it is if you own any Warner Brothers shares, you're going to get about 23, I think, was it 20, 23, 25 in cash per share, and you're going to get about $4.50 of Netflix stock for every share you own. Now, at the current price of Netflix at the time of recording, that's going to give you about 300th of a share per. So it'll
Yeah.
take you a little bit to kind of get back up there. But that's a total rough value of about 27.75 per share of Warner Brothers stock that you own. I own zero, so doesn't really affect me. Mantis, how's your portfolio looking?
Yeah, I have not even been able to log into my 401k. So, and my actual trading portfolio, I don't own any stocks per se. I do own some crypto stuff, but that's a that's a shit show there too. So,
Okay, so we made no money from this deal. Hopefully, you guys, somebody came out here that's watching this came out ahead of in this deal. But what does this mean for the two streaming giants, right? So the deal, roughly as of right now, is going to take about 12 to 18 months to finalize completely, and I think it'll probably be at least that before we start seeing any drastic changes. And when I say that, I mean obviously merging. Are you going to keep HBO Max going? Because I know they'd actually even separated that where there was HBO and HBO Max. And they couldn't make up their fucking minds on what they're doing. So
Mhm.
they're going to keep those separate for now, or at least there's no announcement that they're going to try to just merge everything onto Netflix's platform. Mantis, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, first off, I know that they've agreed to a deal.
Yeah, it's not 100% final. Yeah, sorry, he's
Yeah,
100% right.
because I have serious questions on if this is actually going to be able to go through. I mean, you know this. There's antitrust laws, monopolize like stuff. Like I know, the current administration it does not view this. They didn't view the what was the previous one that they did that Trump was in on when he was president. There was something kind of like this. Oh, the AT&T Time Warner merger. Not related to anything we do on this channel. Just you know, trying to reference back to what the administration now may do. Um, and they were totally against that as well. Although that one did go through. This one would be kind of in a bigger sense because entertainment is viewed differently. Um, and I just don't know if this is actually going to be able to get through antitrust unless there's a lot of corruption grease in the wheels in the back end. It's not up to the administration to okay it or not. When I say administration, I mean the U.S. government. It's judges that have to do this, and judges like to take payments and bribes and all kinds of fun stuff. So who knows what's
No,
going to happen? Yeah,
no, not
I
our Justice Department. Come on.
and here's the thing too. this is not just a US thing. This also, you have to take into account other countries, right? Other countries see this going on. If they think it's monopolized, they can just say we're not allowing this in our country and not allow Netflix and like app in their country. So there's a lot of hurdles to jump through. Not saying it won't get to the end and it finally gets through. It totally could happen. A lot of money is involved here. So um that could totally happen. It's just I don't know. I there's a good chance that it doesn't happen as well. But let's just assume that it does. I agree with you. Like I think there's going to be a discussion. They probably have plans in place for what they're going to do with HBO. I think it's probably going to be in the same realm of with Disney, because I read earlier today that Hulu is probably going to be going away. The Hulu app. They're trying to move everything over to the Disney Plus app, which I'm not. I used to have Hulu, but I hated the Hulu app. I just didn't care for the layout for it. Disney Plus isn't much better, but it is a little better. With Netflix, I do like Netflix's layout. I think what they'll probably end up doing is the same thing like I have YouTube TV, where if I scroll down, I can see HBO Max and I can just add it to my plan for a fee, right? That's probably what they'll end up doing. You have your base Netflix fee or whatever it is. And then, sorry about that, store. And then, if you want to add HBO on there, you can just add it, for a price or whatever. I don't see them doing away with the HBO app at all. They'll just probably keep it going unless it starts to cost too much money. And then they may say, well, if you want that, you just have to get the Netflix app and then add it to your plan type of thing.
See, and that's the important thing right there too, because I agree that I don't see them merging everything just onto Netflix's platform and saying, now you have all this extra content and we raise your price by $1 or $2. I think it is. Yes, you will add the add-on for HBO Max, but you won't be able to get it any other way except going through Netflix. So you can go through Netflix and just get HBO Max if you want, because they're still going to get the money, or you can add it to your Netflix plan. I'm like, God damn. All I was doing, I was waiting for Stranger Things. The last couple episodes will be coming out on to Christmas, and then the final one will be coming out like New Year's. And then I was like going to cancel Netflix. I was done. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm going to end up keeping this.
You still can. You still can, because like you said, we're not even going to know if this is going to go through. It won't go through until later if it does. So you can still cancel.
Well, it's just like like you mentioned with Disney getting Hulu and ESPN, right? I still have my Hulu app. So eventually they'll go away again. These plans take a lot more time. And as I said before, and I apologize, I acted like it was, or at least it didn't specify it wasn't a done deal, or that it was, and it's not.
It's agreed to
go through. It's agreement, but you know. So, and I don't know the specifics because I don't have all of the figures to do the math. But when we did the previous video where Washington was looking at, for their antitrust team, looking into this deal, they said if these two merged, they would own, or Netflix would own 30% of the streaming content out there, which is where the antitrust came in. So,
and like, here's the thing too, like Warner Brothers, you have to think of what they own. Like they own HBO. We were talking about HBO, but they own, New Line Cinema, DC Studios, the franchises they're in, like the DC universe, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, what else?
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, TNT, TBS, CNN, Food Network, some other weird ones.
I had to throw Big Bang Theory. I know it's not a franchise like he's talking. I just like it.
And it covers multiple things too. I mean, it's entertainment because we think of Netflix, right? If you buy a Warner Brothers, you also get stuff in animation. You get gaming. You get, I already mentioned television in there as well. I don't know, man. They're gonna get a lot. I don't, even if, let's say, it goes through, I don't think they'll necessarily make drastic changes right away.
I don't think you'd want to, right? Because again, you're dealing with a studio giant, right? I mean, been around since the 20s. You don't want to change all of the things that are working, because there's a lot working in DC studio, or not even DC studios, and Warner Brothers studios, right? But there are things that aren't. And I think you going in and slowly changing and weeding out the bad shit, right? Because the one thing is, we've seen great content come from both of these companies over the years. We mentioned Big Bang Theory because I just had to throw it in there. He mentioned Game of Thrones, Netflix. We've got like The Witcher. We've got Stranger Things, Wednesday, all these things that have become super, super popular, right? Which is
Yeah.
the only thing that gives me hope is that Netflix puts out great original content. And they also do worth like if Stranger Things, I think, is going to be one of, and don't kill me in the comments. I'm just saying, I think it's one of the only like Netflix original series that's like made it to 5 seasons. They don't like go dragging on
They don't.
to where things start just kind of, you get filler bullshit, right? They keep
Yeah, and
everything super, super like short and
yeah.
really engaging. And
Let's not overlook the fact too that HBO has pretty good television series as well and movies.
oh yeah,
Like HBO Studios is very they know what they know what they're doing, right? And again, Netflix kind of is starting to understand that and how to do that with, like you said, Stranger Things and a couple other ones. I don't particularly like that Netflix axes series early in their you know infancy, I guess. 1 or 2 seasons they axe it. I'm not a fan of that. um and then they keep longer ones on, like The Witcher.
Fuck.
Like yeah, I don't know, like their decision making there is kind of weird, but it it couldn't hurt. I don't know. My opinion on, is it good? Like, is this good? I don't know. I don't honestly don't know. I don't know. Like, I like some things Netflix does, and I don't like other things they do.
yeah, but
So
I feel that way about Warner Brothers Discovery, right? I like a lot of things they do, and I also don't like. And I mean, that's the problem. Is it used to always be that way. Is there's things you like and there's things you don't. You take the good with the bad, and now it's like, I don't like this, so boom, I hate everything. Right? Where everybody's in this kind of
mhm.
mentality of, as soon as you find one flaw in the goddamn Death Star, we don't board it up. We just, oh no, we'll just leave it out. We're done with it, right? No, like,
Yeah.
But I mean, can't we board it up or, put some plywood over it or something?
Well, that would look terrible. I mean, we got to think about resale.
okay, yeah, maybe the two of them together, you put two giants together, maybe we could, get something great.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? I think this is moving to, like, the funny thing is the smaller companies now like have a big problem. Like Paramount is going to have a big problem. Apple is, well, I say Apple. They're kind of in their infancy in the streaming, you know, TV show kind of stuff there.
Before you guys say anything, he was saying that in the streaming and content world, not them being a small company. I know they're valued at like $3 trillion, so he wasn't
Yeah, I'm
meaning
not.
small company in
Yeah,
that frame. Or anybody
yeah,
says some
not.
shit, because you're gonna have some little Apple guys on here. Oh, it's the biggest company in the world.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry,
not.
this is
I'm not
funny.
talking. Yeah, I'm not talking about their computer, PC, iPhone. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about in the entertainment space, like talking about Apple TV streaming. That's what I'm talking about. They have some shows on there. It's just not viewed in the same light as Netflix or Hulu or YouTube TV or Disney Plus. They're not viewed in the same light as those other ones are, right? So, um, those are going to be hurting. I know Apple wasn't putting in a bid on this; they're not looking to, but Paramount was, and they're. I know I read something. Their CEO is pissed. He's going to be pushing, probably donate money to these legislators to push against this. This is where all the fucking grease in the wheels go, right? So this deal falls through. I mean,
I will say it was kind of a shocking blow to the Cadmus Media Group that they did not, even consider their bid, and they
yeah.
decided to go with Netflix. So unfortunately, we didn't have that giant going to be merging, and I think that would have been the best direction for Warner Brothers Discovery. But what can you do? Things just don't
Yeah,
work
we
out
can only,
sometimes.
only put in the bids and see if they're accepted. Apparently, they don't like Amazon gift cards as bids.
I mean, like I'm a little surprised they didn't even think of putting in a bid for something, because
Shit, that's
you
a,
know
that's another one I forgot about, was Amazon Prime Video. Like,
Amazon being
they're
such a
go-
large company.
well, and Amazon's going into this. If you're talking about streaming, they're kind of leaning into some odd things, like the Lord of the Rings universe stuff. They go into streaming sports. Like, they're really heavy. Like, they're really leaning into, like, Thursday night football and that type of stuff. So they're trying to attack things where there's not a lot of people already playing in that area. Like, Netflix doesn't give a fuck about sports streaming, and neither does Disney, like, to an extent. I know they have ESPN. Don't get me wrong, I understand that. But they're trying to trying to grab up some of that market where there's not a lot of competition. So they're not a big player in this either, really. So
If anything for me though, like I get it, this adds a layer of uncertainty as far as what's going to happen, but since Netflix I feel like puts out a good content at least, and a lot of content that is not so heavily swayed in these certain directions. Um, that I
mhm.
feel better about that than like Disney acquiring more, right? Because I feel like Disney needs a stronger competitor to kind of keep them in check, right?
I
In the
agree.
streaming service, because they're gobbling up so many other smaller companies, like I said, getting Hulu, getting Fubo TV, they've got ESPN, they're getting all of these other ones that I think otherwise what you're going to have happen is, and it still could happen with Netflix too, is you're just going to see these prices skyrocket because we only have two different options, right? We have Disney and
Mhm.
we're going to have Netflix and maybe Amazon, and all three of their prices, I mean, we might as well be back to owning fucking cable and paying for all that.
Yeah.
We're already
Yeah,
kind
I
of there.
mean, in Netflix, I kind of agree. I do enjoy one thing Netflix really does, and Hulu is okay at it, but Netflix, they're like a Netflix movie because you guys, I've said this before. Like, I like horror flicks, and Netflix has some like really good like B list horror movies that they made themselves. Like, you can call it made for TV. Like, it happened back in the day on Sci-Fi when Sci-Fi was a channel on television. You'd always have a sci-fi movie that was made by the studio Sci-Fi, and it was just like these some actor. They may have one actor you've seen before, but the story was kind of good. The It was just one of those you just throw on when you just want to watch something new. You're like, oh, what's this? Like, Netflix is great at that type of shit. So I'm okay with that, right? It's just I'm not worried about the stuff that the random shit that they make like that. It's the properties that we know and love that we already saw what Disney did to that shit. Disney bastardized Star Wars and turned it into a heaping pile of dog shit. I'm not I just don't want to see Warner like Netflix do that to Warner Brothers properties too.
Well, here's the thing. Again, when we look at what they put out, like some of their most popular shows have been real popular. I think that, I mean, there are some elements there that I look past, right? That don't bother me. They're good, right? I like the shows, and I think now having the combined power, but also financial backing, because if you think about it, we haven't really seen anything come out in the actual television, like live action TV DC stuff yet, right? What? Hey, Thor. He's got to jump in
Or
on the conversation here.
or if you
He
interference.
wants to weigh in heavily, but the thing is, we
Okay.
haven't seen a lot. HBO or Lanterns was going to be the first thing through HBO Max that was going to be like a new actual live action TV, right? And we're super
Mhm.
excited for it because the fact that you need that kind of budget to do that TV show, you can't put that on a regular network show. And
Right.
Netflix clearly is okay in spending large amounts on their budget for their TV show series, so I feel like it's still in pretty good hands. I'm excited to see if Superman's going to come into the Upside Down. Maybe that's where he finds Henry Cavill Superman. Yeah, we don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe that he's fucking Henry Cavill's Vecna. We don't know, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. They do the crossovers in video games all the time. Like, there's every what month you see some new thing with what's the freaking game that all the kids play that
Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yes, there's some new Fortnite thing, which I mean, DC's been in that. Superman's been in. I mean, they've had all kinds of stuff in there.
Fortnite's
Star
really good
Wars has been
about
in it.
getting on whatever's popular at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there could be some crossovery stuff there too if they wanted to get really wild with it. Um, I don't know. We'll see. Again, there's steps to this, like we said. They've got the deal actually has to go through. Now, any good company is going to make plans for either way, right? So they've already got stuff in a team probably set to like, okay, this is if this goes through, this is what we're going to do. We need to get this team already, plans in place, projects set up, all this stuff, right? Like they're already planning ahead. um and also if it doesn't, right, I mean,
So
any good company does.
they're already doing filings, right? According to, if you look at actual article that's on Netflix's site there, they're actually already doing the filings, right? They're going to file the separation from Discovery. They're already, those are already in works. That's what I'm saying. It's a definitive agreement where I think it's the potential for holdup is Congress, the government stepping in and saying this is violating antitrust laws, that they cannot own that much in the streaming world and that much in the content world. But we'll have to wait and see. So I don't know. Curious times. Again, I feel like we'll be able to get out the Supergirl movie, and we should have Lanterns out. And I feel like if those definitely do successful before this deal, everything is finalized, I feel like they're going to take their time and slowly dissect out the cancerous parts of WB, hopefully, and maybe, keep all the good. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a positive effect for both. We don't know.
I don't know, man. I think the biggest hurdle is going to be antitrust, not only in the US but in other countries. That's really a big factor. I gotta think though, if they did their due diligence, they've already put feelers out for this of how it could go, but who knows?
Yeah, but a lot of foreign countries don't like the necessary direction like that Disney goes because of what they push and their views. So
look, Netflix doesn't it's not like it's not like, okay, Disney is woke and Netflix is based or is MAGA or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? They're just not as forward with it.
Yeah,
like, if you watch things, they're still tipping in that water. It's just not as blatant, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, you're even seeing it currently in Stranger Things, right? Again, you can read wokeness into a lot of things if you want to. The difference is when I watch some Netflix shows, that's not immediately where my mind goes. It's an afterthought of like, yeah, they kind of injected into here, but the story was good enough that I looked past it. Like, and it was so minute. Whereas, some Disney shows, not all, but some of the Disney shows, I mean, they fucking pecker smack you with it. And you're just like, like, damn, okay, calm down. Like, that's what I mean. And that doesn't necessarily go over in other parts of the world. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of, other countries that are like, hey, this is a good thing. We need somebody to check this massive media giant like Disney and kind of put them in their place a little bit. Maybe get them to calm down a little bit, right?
That.
Maybe
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Maybe if that happens, then maybe we will see good content, just good old-fashioned content that is based off of good writing and good character from all of these companies. Maybe this is the turning point, right? This is the start of what's going to get entertainment companies back to what we all want. And that's fucking-tainment. Right?
Good entertainment. Yes, that's really.
The only reason why we do any of this stuff is to be entertained. I don't want to be lectured at. I don't want to be criticized. I just want to be entertained.
That's it.
So
I want to criticize when I go to work.
Right. All right, guys.
I don't need that.
Do what?
So I don't need it while I'm watching my Netflix show,
Right. Go to work and get paid for it. All right, guys. If you have made it with us this far, please consider giving the video a like, subscribing to the channel, and having the bell notifications clicked. Leaving a comment. I mean, if you can try to just be at least a human being about it, and you don't have to be a total dick. If not, I mean, we don't ever delete them, but it does help the channel. Not if you're being a dick, but it does help the channel.
Also, fuck assholes, Chuck.
I did cut that in on one of the last videos because it said, right now YouTube's kind of being dicks to a lot of channels, right? Especially smaller content creators like we are. So it definitely does help out. We appreciate it, guys, because we're here at the end of a very long work weeks. Like, we just found this information out. We got to get a video out for everybody. So we do this for you guys. We don't ask all this shit up front. We don't ask you to pay us money and sign up for a Patreon. Trust me, the stuff we cut out, you don't want to see. So
you don't. You really don't.
Yeah.
It's not good content.
Although I'm leaving Thor in. So he will stay in the shot.
Put a Thor cam. Yeah, put a Thor in. Hey, look, if you guys want like 2 minutes of Thor and that makes you watch the video, we'll do it. Like, I'm not above putting Thor in, we can just 2 minutes in.
I want to start the video instead of you being there. Thor is just sitting in your seat looking at the camera.
Maybe we get AI to mess with that. And
I don't know. Everybody seems to like you better than me. So maybe Thor needs to take my spot. Let it know what you think about it. I know you guys hate the glasses, but you see these bright things back here. I need them to block all the light out. So All right, guys, before we go off the rails, it's at the end of the video. Anyways, you're probably not even here.
Yeah.
That is going to do it for us on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.
Oh, man.